I'd like to thank my parents for not only letting me live with them for the past 4 years, but for listening to me vent all the time and giving me free food, which was absolutely amazing. Thank you guys for being there every step of the way and really encouraging me throughout all the decisions you have to make during the challenging times of med school.
And congratulations to the class of 2021. I'd like to start by saying thank you to the University of Toledo College of Medicine and Life Sciences and the entire Toledo community for giving me the opportunity to complete medical school in Toledo. I'd also like to say thank you to my family. Thank you for your love, help, support, and guidance throughout my entire life, and certainly throughout these past 4 years. I really appreciate everything you've done for me.
I'd like to thank my family, Dave and Diane Leonard, the best parents in the world, Jasmine and Veronica, my hero little sisters, and all of the awesome friends that Toledo has forever given me. So many awesome memories gone. Crazy how fast time flies.
And I'd really like to thank my other extended family and friends for just being the biggest support system during my time at UT. I've been here for the past 7 years and I couldn't imagine my experience both in undergrad and medical school without them. So thank you for making Toledo truly the best home.
I'd also like to say thank you to Dr. Mattis. I'm so excited to be pursuing a career in family medicine like her, and I really appreciate all of her time, teaching, support, and help, and for her being my mentor throughout these past 4 years.
And also the faculty that made this a home away from home. Dr. Baptista, Dr. Mattis, Dr. Brodsky, and all the other countless faculty that kind of made this a really indelible time here for us. Thank you.
Thank you to all of you who made my dream of becoming a family physician a reality.
Once again, thank you to everyone who's helped me along the way, and a big congratulations to the class of 2021.
Good afternoon. Everyone, please stand for the presentation of colors and for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose rough stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Everyone, please be seated. Thank you for the presentation of the colors by the University of Toledo Rocket Battalion and the performance of our national anthem by the University of Toledo Health Science Campus student groups Da Cappella and Vocal Remedy. On behalf of the faculty and staff in the University of Toledo College of Medicine and Life Sciences, I am honored to preside over today's commencement exercises. It is with great pleasure that I welcome the graduates, the families, and the friends to your graduation. All of us are here today to recognize your achievements. Would all the members of the University of Toledo College of Medicine and Life Sciences class of 2021 please stand and be recognized? You may be seated. Thank you and congratulations. These ladies and gentlemen have done remarkable things in science and education and patient care. Some through diligent efforts in the lab have presented their scientific accomplishments in prestigious national meetings and have published in nationally recognized journals. Other students have tutored their peers. Students in other programs are volunteered with elementary school children in our neighborhood. Over the past 4 years, College of Medicine and Life Science students contributed thousands of hours of peer tutoring, creating a culture of collaboration. Our students have also learned to care and have cared for others locally and around the world. These students before you have volunteered countless hours at the community care clinics, and we've seen them in action in the clinic, the operating room, and beside the hospital bed, both here in Toledo and on medical missions in the developing world. Ladies and gentlemen, they are well prepared for a world that needs talented, hardworking, and prepared adults who will discover solutions to the world's needs through research, who will educate others, and who will provide care for all people. To further their training, many of our today's graduates will soon transition into residency programs, postdoctoral training labs, educational institutions, hospitals, industry, and governmental agencies locally and throughout our nation. They will be joining our alumni, who are prominent teachers, clinicians, researchers, and administrators in the worlds of medicine and science in America and around the world. Many individuals whose efforts have resulted in the successful institution of which we are so proud of are with us today. The University of Toledo has tremendous support from our Board of Trustees It is my pleasure to recognize board member Dr. Eleanor Awadala, who is with us today. Dr. Awadala, will you please stand? Thank you for your support of the University and the College of Medicine and Life Sciences. Next, I am honored to recognize Dr. Gregory Postal, the 19th president of the University of Toledo, who will be conferring the degrees awarded today. Dr. Postal, would you please stand? Would Dr. Barry Sherman, interim dean of the College of Graduate Studies, please stand? I would like to recognize Dr. Sherman for working closely with our College of Medicine and Life Sciences graduate students to enable us to achieve our academic mission. I would like to extend a very special welcome to our honorary degree recipient and today's commencement speaker, Dr. Matthew Hepburn. Would you please stand? Thank you so much. Certainly, one of the reasons for the success of the College of Medicine and Life Sciences is the contribution of our academic and clinical partners. From our own hospital, UTMC, to our local partners throughout Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan, to our global affiliates around the world, these institutions and preceptors willingly accept our students into training and do an excellent job of educating them. I would also like to recognize the leadership of ProMedica Health System for their commitment to our education and retention of students. Thank you all for the support and essential collaboration you provide in the education of our students. I would now like to ask all of the College of Medicine and Life Sciences faculty members who are in attendance today and the leadership team in the college and in the hospital, UTMC, to stand and be recognized for your efforts in the education of our graduates. Special recognition goes to Dr. Nicholas Horan, Chair of the College of Medicine Faculty Council, who is the Grand Marshal for the procession for today's ceremony. Thanks to all of you. Graduation is truly a team effort. I would also like to ask the individuals, faculty, staff, students, and volunteers who have worked to plan today's commencement exercises to stand and be recognized. Finally, I would also like to take a moment on this special day to recognize yet one more group of special heroes, unsung heroes, without whom this day would not have been possible. A group of individuals who work selflessly to provide cheer and support, to offer judgment and counsel, and to just be there when needed for that moment of sadness or joy. Would the parents, spouses, partners, and children of the graduates please stand to be recognized? Thank you, and congratulations to all of you. It is now my pleasure to ask Dr. President Postal to come to the podium to provide a greeting from the university.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper, and good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the University of Toledo, we are excited to have the opportunity to celebrate the class of 2021's achievements and resilience together and in person. We are thankful to have so many excited graduates, proud parents, family members, and friends, as well as dedicated faculty and staff who have joined us here today, and those who are tuning in virtually to make this celebration one to remember for our graduates. Thank you all for joining us. Today marks a major milestone, one that our graduates, their families, and our faculty have long awaited. It's a day to celebrate a personal achievement, the rewards of much studying, and the many opportunities that a medical degree brings. Achieving this milestone is not easy, even under normal circumstances. You have demonstrated such focus, resilience, and strength to overcome the challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic during the last year. You have all persevered through unimaginable hardships, and I'm confident that you are now prepared to face anything. Your accomplishments, both individually and collectively, inspire hope in all of us. I would also like to recognize the faculty, advisors, staff, and mentors whose work has supported the achievements we celebrate today. Thank you for your unwavering dedication to our students, your wisdom and real-world experience, and your ongoing pursuit of innovative research that are the critical components in ensuring University of Toledo students reach their full potential. I would also like to take just a moment to recognize again all of the special people in the support systems of our graduates, whether they are parents, friends, a spouse, a partner, children, siblings, or grandparents. Over the past few years, there have no doubt they have served as your personal fan club. To all of the individuals who have supported you, I want to say thank you. Thank you for reaching out to your graduate to offer advice, to cheer them on when times were difficult, for listening when they needed encouragement, for boosting their confidence when they doubted themselves, and for laughing to help lighten their spirits. We are honored to share this celebration with our graduates and their loved ones today. We are so proud of your successes to date, but even more so, we look forward to your future accomplishments. As you move forward, ready to tackle your next adventure as our newest UToledo alumni, please know that all of us in Rocket Nation are supporting your success. Congratulations, graduates.
Thank you, Dr. Postal. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce Dr. Mohammed Musa, President of the College of Medicine and Life Sciences Alumni Affiliate. Dr. Musa.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper. On behalf of the University College of Medicine and Life Sciences Alumni Affiliate, I'm pleased to welcome the graduates to your Alumni Association. In recognition of your accomplishments and the greatness yet to come, it is our pleasure to present to you a bag of special gifts, each of you seated below your seats. For the graduating physicians, our alumni have purchased stethoscopes for each graduate. The stethoscope is symbolic. You've chosen to listen to your heart and, in the process, amplified the sounds of life. For the graduating doctorates, our alumni have purchased hand-blown glass paperweights, a memento of the University of Toledo and Toledo itself, the glass capital of the world. And for the master's candidates, we also have a gift, and all of the graduates will receive a complimentary 5-year membership to this Alumni Association. Each of you follows in the footsteps of more than 9,000 alumni of the College of Medicine and Life Sciences. In turn, others will follow your lead. I'm sure you will always remember the College of Medicine and Life Sciences, a shining gem of Northwest Ohio. Today is one day that you will never forget. On behalf of all of the alumni, thank you for making a difference. Thank you for improving the human condition. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Musa. One of the traditions of commencement is the awarding of honorary degrees and recognitions of persons for outstanding contributions to their professions and to society as a whole. Today, we have the honor of bestowing an honorary degree to a distinguished individual who has made a remarkable contribution to the health of our country. President Postal, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Matthew Hepburn, an infectious disease physician, national leader, and retired colonel from the United States Army. Dr. Hepburn serves as the vaccine lead for Operation Warp Speed, which is a partnership of the Department of Defense and the Department of Health and Human Services and the private sector that was initiated to facilitate and accelerate the development, manufacturing, and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostics. He has played a pivotal role as a physician, leader, and scientist during the greatest global healthcare crisis in over a century. Dr. Hepburn received a Bachelor of Science degree in engineering and his medical degree from Duke University. He completed an internship and residency in internal medicine at Brooke Army Medical Center. He went on to complete a fellowship in infectious disease at Brooke Army Medical Center. As vaccine lead, Dr. Hepburn is responsible for establishing and overseeing a vaccine management team and leads U.S. government investments in 6 vaccine efforts worth more than $1 billion per project. No one falls into such an important role. Dr. Hepburn's service to our country prepared him very well. Prior to his position as vaccine lead, he served as the Joint Project Lead, enabling biotechnologies for the Joint Program Executive Office for Chemical, Biological, Radiological, and Nuclear Defense. Yes, that's a mouthful. He was responsible for establishing a start-to-finish capability to develop vaccines and therapeutic solutions against current and future biologic threats. Dr. Hepburn and the enabling biotechnology team implemented the DoD Vaccine Acceleration Project, which provides key investments to advance vaccines and antibody therapeutics, with a special emphasis on acceleration of manufacturing these products in clinical trials. Prior to his assignment with Enabling Biotechnologies, Dr. Hepburn served 23 years active duty in the United States Army, retiring as a colonel. His final assignment was a project manager at the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, also known as DARPA, where he implemented numerous breakthrough investment programs to prepare for the current pandemic. During the same time, he served on the research and development team at the Research, Development, and Acquisitions Directorate at the Defense Health Agency. He also served as Director of Medical Preparedness on the White House National Security Staff, where he was responsible for leading interagency policy process to address the lessons learned from the H1N1 influenza pandemic. Dr. Hepburn was also Chief Medical Officer of the Level 2 treatment facility in Iraq, and prior to his deployment, he was the Clinical Research Director at the U.S. Army Medical Research Institute for Infectious Diseases. He is currently an adjunct faculty member at Georgetown University, where he teaches a graduate level course on biotechnology and security. Dr. Hepburn has received numerous military awards, including a Bronze Star, Defense Superior Services Medal, Meritorious Service Medal, multiple Army Commendation Medals, and Army Achievement Medals. He has also received academic honors, including Outstanding Staff Teacher for medical students from the University of Texas Health Science Center and the DARPA Results Matter Award. He is an assistant professor at the Uniformed Services University of Health Sciences and has published numerous manuscripts and book chapters. He is also highly involved as a reviewer of multiple manuscripts for 12 different journals. President Postal, it is my honor to present you Dr. Matthew Hepburn.
Dr. Hepburn, we are so honored to have you with us here today. Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority vested in me by the state of Ohio and by the trustees of the University of Toledo, I hereby confer upon you the honorary degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa in recognition of your outstanding contributions and your service to humanity.
So I love taking this mask off so you can see my grin. I am so ecstatic, honored, exhilarated, whatever the right word is, to be able to celebrate this in-person graduation with you. I am so grateful to the University of Toledo, to the Medical Center, to the leadership for choosing me. I don't think I deserve it, but I will tell you this, that as we have, as a United States government and as a nation really fighting this pandemic every day, frankly, I've been at it every day for about 1.5 years now. And coming to something like this, there is nothing more rejuvenating for me to get back in the fight tomorrow morning than to be a part of this. So I am so honored. It's very, very meaningful to me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I arrived yesterday, and over the last day or so, the hospitality and the welcoming with the leadership, with Dr. Postel, with Dr. Cooper, with my good friend Dr. Michael Ellis, with Eleanor from the Board of Trustees, they've welcomed me in. It's like a homecoming. It's like I'm back home again. For me, that's been really special because I actually grew up in Ann Arbor, right up the road. And I think of this area, this region, kind of as my home. I think of you as my people. You're my people, I'm your people. And so that makes it especially meaningful as well. And when I think back from where I'm from, and it does influence us, you know, where we come from, I think there's a lot of qualities that I hope to have because of where I'm from. So long list, here's the point. This region, my region, your region, where we come from, we get things done. Full stop. No fancy arrogance, all that. We don't have time for it. We get things done. So graduates, I am asking you to do one thing. I need you to press. I use the word press because that was oftentimes the final word in our daily vaccine updates for Operation Warp Speed. Operation Warp Speed, as you may know, was this combined effort with the Department of Defense, bringing operational planning and leadership to the scientific expertise of Health and Human Services. And it was this great combo to accelerate vaccine development so we could do things like have an in-person ceremony today. And at the end of every meeting, there was always a process where 4-star General Gus Perna, who would say, General Perna, you're the Chief Operating Officer, final words on the daily update. And my favorite endings is when he said, press, because we all knew what he meant. Don't need to belabor the point. We would relentlessly pursue accomplishing the mission of vaccinating America, of ending the pandemic, and we knew every day counted. No ambiguity, no flowery languages. That's what I want for you today, the one thing to remember. I want you to press. So my purpose today, I wanted to talk about some of the examples where you've done this, but also to encourage you to press forward in the future. And I want to start with a sincere thank you, and it's a reminder what each of you, especially graduates, but everybody in this audience, has done to fight this pandemic. I want to thank everybody in attendance today for the goodness that we have brought to this awful, terrible, tragic time. I know we feel it, I feel it, we've all felt it very, very personally. Today is not the day, we will reflect on that, we'll never forget this. But today what I want to do is, instead of dwelling on that, instead of dwelling on the mistakes and the bad behavior and the what we should have done, I want to recognize that this pandemic has also brought out the best in America. Our caring for one another, our patriotism, our endurance. I got a chance to roll up my sleeves along with hundreds of U.S. government personnel, putting their hearts and souls into vaccine development every day. No days off, sometimes 24/7 operations until we turn the tide. Thousands more in the private sector right now are running manufacturing vaccines, making literally millions of doses in 24/7 shifts, and they've been running that since December. We've had over 100,000 Americans sign up for vaccine clinical trials, often not knowing if they received a placebo or if they would actually receive the vaccine. Why did they sign up? Because they were doing their part in fighting the pandemic. The graduates, the staff, the faculty at this medical center have been fighting this pandemic since then, since we started, and they continue to fight it every day. And they're still not giving up, and they're exhausted. And many of you are probably exhausted after seeing so much of this tragedy. But yet you continue to fight, this medical center continues to fight, and the frontline healthcare workers continue to fight. One thing we can do for those frontline people is we can get vaccinated, you can tell your friends to get vaccinated. We vaccinate our nation to protect those that are on the front lines. And in this audience, across the stadium, we've seen countless acts of caring for friends, family, even people you don't know. It's that kindness, those little things, that's what America does best. And I applaud you for it. I feel like we did, as a nation, we took care of each other. We sustained our strength, and now I'm hoping we see that light at the end of the tunnel. Now, I have a particular thank you extended to all those who have supported the graduates in this achievement. And I think certainly the faculty knows, that in healthcare, the sacrifice of that life of healthcare service is profound. It's not just the work hours, to learn your skills, taking care of patients, but it's also the psychological toll, because you're caring for people sometimes in their most desperate hours. It takes a toll. And it's hard to sustain that through a career. And we see it a lot. In my med school graduate, my class, I see people who are burned out. They're tired, they're disillusioned in the practice of medicine, frustrated. The way you get through that is the caring and support from those people that are here in this room. Because what they've done is they've imbued the people on the floor here to have hearts as big as the world. I know you do, because you've chosen this profession because you do. But the people in the stands have made you feel loved, and so therefore you can transfer that love to your patients that you serve. Your capacity to care is built on their caring for you, and now you will go, and you will be that beacon of light that those patients, how badly they need it. They need that beacon of light in their darkest hour. You're going to be that. And in the coming years, parents, family, friends, everybody else, they're going to need your patience. They're going to miss get-togethers because they were on call. They're going to be distracted and detached because they're struggling. You will be there for them, but I want you to remember this moment, because it will come, and your strength will keep them going. I'm here because my wife of 25 years, Janice, and she's up in the stands over there. I must say, I don't know, probably no one was watching me when we were applauding the families. But we can show the tape again, and I was clapping like crazy. I was like, yeah, it is. Anyway, I'm here because of Janice. I'm here because she enabled me and supported me, especially through those times. So families, that's what they're going to need. And graduates, two-way street, okay? You need to thank, you need to nurture, you need to honor those relationships of those that supported you. If you neglect it, it's going to be tragic. Whereas if you cultivate those relationships, it'll actually be more rewarding than anything you're going to do professionally. So graduates, I ask you to press. So I'm frequently asked the question of, okay, with Operation Warp Speed, how were you so successful as a team, as a public-private partnership, as a community, of developing and delivering vaccines in record time? Vaccines typically take a decade or more to get approved. We had 3 in less than a year. Lots of technical questions, None of that is the most important thing. The most important thing on why we were successful is that we had the relentless pursuit of a goal, never dissuaded by critics, never dissuaded that it can't be done, here's the conventional wisdom, the status quo. We would not be dissuaded. So many people told us it couldn't be done, but we knew failure was not an option. And we had a team that was so determined. We drove the process, and I hope we set a new standard for vaccine development. So from now on, your expectation as a public should be that these life-saving treatments will be delivered in that time frame, and we should not look back. We shouldn't revert. As we are successful, the amazing thing in this graduation speech, I get a chance to say, why can't we then vaccinate 2/3 of the globe and totally end this pandemic? 10 to 14 billion doses, triple the doses of the annual production of all vaccines for all purposes. Why can't we do that? And if we can make those billions of doses, why can't we look at the list of vaccine preventable diseases, some for which we already have candidates, others we don't, and take them off the list? Continue to sustain that type of effort to manufacture and deliver to truly eliminate some of these scourges that have been with us for centuries. And if we can do that as a global community, why can't we then say, we are going to never let this pandemic happen again? So those challenges are huge. I got it. And I know what every adult in this room is thinking and what you're doing. And you're going through a process of, that sounds nice, but. Yeah, he's crazy. But here's why it can't be done. That's how we're trained to think. And what I'm asking you is, don't do that. Okay, we're rewarded for critiquing other people's ideas instead of driving our own. Drive your own ideas, and don't be dissuaded. And I do think anything is possible. If you have dedicated professionals focused on the mission, and if you decide this is so important to me that I'm going to put my life energy, I'm going to put it all on the line, I'm going all in. The graduates on the floor here, of course, know this better than anybody else in the room, because that's what you did. That's what you did for the last number of years. You pressed, and you achieved an educational accomplishment, and you will always be able to say and look back and say, not only did I achieve this degree, which is extraordinary, you're in rarefied air, but you did it during a pandemic. You're always going to be able to say that. And now this is your moment to say, I did that, now here's what I'm going to do. And dream big and be outrageous. Do it. You know as well as anyone, because you've done this in the last 4 years, that you've seen that we live in a world full of suffering. You're joining a healthcare system that's not taking care of it. It's dysfunctional. Our biomedical research enterprise needs to be improved. Literally millions of people throughout your lifetime of service are counting on you to fix it. And your perspective is fresh, your questions are right. You're saying, why do we do healthcare like this? And none of those answers are sufficient. They shouldn't be sufficient for you. You need to fix it. So sadly, where do you start? Like, there's so many things to fix. Well, the good news is there's no wrong choices. Choose. What do you care about more than anything else? What do you think, if I do this, the world will be a better place? Choose and go and fix something. Some examples. Bringing health back into healthcare. Creating a health system that serves everyone, not some, not just sick people, everyone. Preventing aging. And I'm getting older, so fix it. Like, let's stop this whole aging thing. Ending addiction. I don't need to remind you, we still have an opioid epidemic in addition to our current pandemic, and the opioid epidemic is not going away. We need to reform and think about how we educate professionals in the 21st century. Things are different. Our society is so different. Let's educate the next generation even better. And finally, creating a society that truly takes care of each other. And imagine where our health care system can care so much that it can transform us into a more caring society. You have plenty of choices in your mission. I just hope you press. And you utilize your skills, but I think the best skill that you have, the best weapon, is love. And that's why you've chosen this path in the first place. The problems aren't going to be solved by the standard approaches. It's not going to be status quo. It's not going to be it's not going to be incremental. You need to press for change. And you can't be dissuaded. You're going to ruffle feathers. You're not going to get a raise. You're going to become unsure. And the worst thing is if you don't act because you fear you're going to fail. Don't do that. Don't get complacent. And do not accept mediocrity in anything you do professionally. I mean, we're entrusting, our society is entrusting their health to you. It's the foundation for who we, it's a foundation for who we are. Without your health, can't do anything else. We're entrusting you to do that. So don't go halfway on that. Don't do an okay job as a healthcare professional. Be the best. That's what your patients deserve. Be excellent in all you do. You've been taught to learn and discover through research, and I love research. It's a core attribute to what we do in healthcare. We need to have a learning system where we're constantly improving. And I find research is inspiring for me because it's always so full of hope that we can truly achieve a better future. But we have to reform. We have to do biomedical research differently. It takes a decade or more for us to translate the important discoveries in the laboratory to truly impact patient care. So what happens to all those people that are suffering for that decade? We have to transform it. We have to do better. I hope you scientists, those that pursue and participate in a research career, can infuse the energy and impatience into the research system. And I hope that all of you, and frankly, all of us as a society, need to be part of clinical research. We need to be part of a system that's improving constantly. So, let's vaccinate the world against COVID and all those other preventable infectious diseases. Let's apply the promise of technology to improve health. And we got to temper it with that humanism, that love, that understanding of culture and equity and philosophy to ensure justice and compassion. Do that. And as you nurture that passion and as you dream big, I think my one final lesson for you is never forget that the most important impact that you're going to have is the example that you set for others to follow. We will be watching you. We'll see it. And we'll be hoping for the best in you. And I know we're going to see that. My final wish to you today, every day, graduates, I want you to press. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now begin the presentation of candidates for degrees and certificates. Dr. Candace Williams, Associate Dean for the College of Medicine and Life Sciences Graduate Programs, and Dr. Randall Worth, Senior Associate Dean for Student Affairs and Admissions, will present the degrees for the University of Toledo College of Medicine and Life Sciences Class of 2021, followed by Dr. Gregory Postal, President of the University of Toledo, who will then confer the degrees. Each graduate, starting with recipients of graduate degrees and certificates, will be invited to come forward to the stage to my left. After graduates receive their diploma cases and congratulations, you are asked to return to your seat and be seated. Dr. Williams and Dr. Worth.
Will all of the candidates for graduate degrees please stand and remain standing? Dr. Postel, it is my great pleasure to present the candidates for the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy of Biomedical Science and Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences.
Will all the candidates for medical degrees please stand and remain standing? Dr. Postel, it's my great pleasure to present the candidates for the degrees Doctor of Medicine and other combined degrees.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority in me vested by the state of Ohio and the trustees of the University of Toledo, I do confer upon all of the qualified candidates, including those in absentia, the degrees for which they have met the requirements. You are charged with the duties and responsibilities of that degree and granted the privileges and prerogatives appertaining thereto, and the obligations and the duties and responsibilities of your profession. The doctoral graduates may now move their tassels from the back left side of their mortarboards to the front left side. The master's graduates may now move their tassels from the back right of their mortarboards to the back left side of their mortarboards.
Okay. Medical degree candidates, you may be seated. Dr. Postel, Dr. Cooper, Dr. Schurman, faculty, parents, and guests. The College of Graduate Studies at the University of Toledo enjoys a tradition of excellence in 41 doctoral programs and 129 master's programs in 10 colleges across the university. In addition to PhD and master's degree, UT also offers 7 professional doctorates degrees and 10 professional master's degrees. Today, 43 students will be graduating from 6 different graduate programs in the College of Medicine and Life Sciences. The recipients for the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Science, excuse me, and Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences will have their hoods placed by Dr. Ivana De La Serna, Associate Professor, Department of Cancer Biology, and Dr. Amira Gohara, Professor and Chair of Pathology of the Department of Pathology and Dean Emerita of the College of Medicine and Life Sciences. At this time, we invite these students to approach the stage. So students line up in front of the ramp, that's right. Announcement of the PhD candidates. The College of Medicine's doctoral program in biomedical sciences began in 1975. It now trains students to become independent research scientists in the fields of cancer biology, neurosciences and neurological diseases, medical microbiology and immunology, and molecular medicine. Would the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Sciences please come forward to be hooded, recognized, and receive congratulations. Audience, please hold your applause until the graduates have received their diploma cases and returned to their seats.
Dr. Sapita Baroy. Dr. Janelle Mercedes Edwards. Dr. Krisan Mohammed.
That's it. Okay, please join me in congratulating these newly minted PhDs. The Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences program in the College of Medicine and Life Sciences currently offers advanced study in 13 different areas of concentration. Would the candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences please come forward to be hooded, recognized, and receive congratulations.
Abdel Rauf I. Al-Aga. Ariana Aranda. Jennifer Bowl. Sreya Brahmandam. Connor Campbell. Taylor Conrad. Melissa Curtis. Hunter M. Eby. Saeed Abdul Moiz Hassan. Ali Sajid Imami. Matthew Leverich. Ishan Menender. Gabrielle McMunn.
Scott Arthur Maruzzi.
Vikyathi Polerla. Avish Prasad. Buan Rai. Emily Waggy. Caitlin M. Segulis.
Please join me in congratulating these master's degree recipients. Dr. Cooper, that includes the presentation of candidates for the graduate programs.
Thank you, Candace. At this time, I would like to call upon Dr. Claire Meikle to give the graduate student commencement speech. Dr. Meikle is this year's outstanding student in the PhD program in biomedical science. Dr. Meikle.
Good afternoon. My favorite thing about the University of Toledo has always been the people. In the last 7 years, I have met some of my closest friends and my most trusted advisors. Together, we have laughed and commiserated, grieved and celebrated, worked through problems, and flourished. When I first started as a first-year medical student, my classmates told me that I was a glutton for punishment for pursuing an MD PhD. And I have to admit, there have been times when I agreed, but I wouldn't trade any of it. The hours of studying in Mulford Library, or processing samples in the lab, or seeing patients here at UTMC and at Toledo Hospital. These memories are special because of the people I have shared them with. I'm grateful to have shared all of these memories with you. I remember my very first day here on campus for my interview all the way back in January of 2014. Some of you might remember the polar vortex that year, which had left several feet of snow on the ground and about 20 in the parking lot. And I thought, is this how Toledo usually is? But my doubts about Toledo vanished when I met my first interviewer. I didn't know it then, but this person who immediately put me at ease would be my graduate advisor and mentor. Dr. Randy Worth has guided me, challenged me, encouraged and supported me, as he has for many of you as the Senior Associate Dean of Student Affairs and Admissions. Back then, Dr. Worth was an associate professor in the Department of Medical Microbiology and Immunology, leading a research lab studying platelet function. At that time, I was applying for cancer biology track, and I had plans to pursue cancer research and go into oncology. But I immediately connected with Dr. Worth's thoughtful and direct approach, his consideration for others, and his interest in helping me achieve my goals. We stayed in touch during my M1 and M2 years. I eventually joined his lab and completed my PhD in platelet function in patients with lung cancer. Maybe it was luck that I interviewed with him, but I think it shows how the connections that we make with people can shape our lives. As a first and second year medical student, I formed strong friendships with my classmates. When I diverged from my class of 2018 to start my PhD research, I feared that I would lose my support system. But thanks to the MD PhD program, extracurricular activities, and several very active group chats, as well as the wonderful friendships that I made in graduate school, my support system actually grew. I met several of you while I was working in the lab, either through research, our a cappella group, or volunteering at the free clinic. Some of you even went above and beyond, donating your blood from my lab experiments. You all helped me to feel connected during a time that could have felt isolating. The truth is, I needed a lot of support during graduate school. I leaned on classmates for help in everything from data analysis to the feelings of inadequacy that are so common among graduate students. Together, we've gotten through the stress of qualifying exams, the yearly graduate research forum, grant rejections, and comments from reviewer 2. And when one of us got published, won a research award, or finally got that clean Western blot, that was grounds for celebration. The faculty and staff were integral to all of our success here in graduate school. our research mentors, lab mates, and committee members, but also the phlebotomist Terry Jackson, who trained me in drawing blood, the nuclear medicine tech Alex Reiner, who helped me enroll hundreds of patients into my research study, Dr. Kalinowski and Dr. Weaver, who helped me design and conduct countless flow cytometry experiments, the DLR staff, and many others. I had thought that I would be on my own during graduate school, but I've never felt more supported. We in the medical school have been fortunate to receive a twofold education. Our teachers have taught us patient care, but they have also taught us to care for patients. We have learned from outstanding science communicators, from Dr. Eisenman describing actin remodeling, to Dr. Ferreira explaining the intricacies of the complement system, to Dr. Gohara discussing the glomerulonephridities. We've learned from insightful, competent, compassionate clinicians, from Dr. Pat at the community care clinics treating dozens of underserved patients a night, to Dr. Duggan guiding patients through a diagnosis of HIV, to Dr. Mattis, well, really everything Dr. Mattis does. To all of our educators, thank you. Our teachers have ensured that we are all here today with the skills that we need to save lives and the resilience that we need to keep doing it day after day. This graduating class has blazed the trail for the new medical school curriculum in 2017 and was the first to navigate a virtual residency interview season, not to mention a global pandemic. This last year especially has demonstrated that isolation can be painful, uncertainty can be draining, and sometimes the problems that we face can seem insurmountable. COVID-19 has changed all of us. Even when we couldn't be together in person, we've supported each other. Members of this class worked with the administration to address student concerns. Members of this class spoke out against injustice, establishing UTCOM's chapter of White Coats for Black Lives. Members of this class spent hours on the front lines, volunteering at COVID testing and vaccination clinics, on top of their usual classwork and rotations. I am so proud of what this class has accomplished and the qualities of compassion, strength, and resilience that we share. You, the faculty, staff, and students, have made my last 7 years fulfilling, enriching, and exciting. It is inspiring to think of us, each one of us graduate and medical school grads, starting a new chapter, meeting new people, and touching lives in the way that you all have touched mine. Thank you for making this experience so meaningful.
Thank you, Dr. Meikle. At this time, we will award the Doctor of Medicine degrees. Dr. Randall Worth, Senior Associate Dean for Student Affairs and Admissions, will introduce the degree candidates. Dr. Worth.
Of the Doctor of Medicine candidates who are graduating today, 2 of the students have completed an additional 1 to 4 years of education at the graduate level, and thus will receive a dual MD and graduate degree. At this time, we invite these students to approach the stage. The dual MD PhD program is a rigorous course of study consisting of full medical school preclinical and clinical requirements, in addition to graduate study and research on one of 4 interdisciplinary tracks aligned with disease processes. Will the candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy and Biomedical Sciences and Doctor of Medicine please come forward to be hooded, recognized, and receive congratulations.
Dr. Sarah Galla. Dr. Claire Minkle.
Congratulations to our dual degree graduates. The next step in the path that these MD graduates must take to practice medicine in the United States is entering an accredited residency program, which is known as graduate medical education. As detailed in the commencement program, the graduates have chosen to pursue their residency and medical specialties across the country. Some of the MD graduates will be pursuing specialized research fellowships prior to entering the residency training. Dr. Amira Gohara and Dr. Coral Mattis, Associate Dean for Foundational Sciences Curriculum, were selected by the graduating class for the honor of hooding the candidates. Would the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Medicine please come forward to be hooded, recognized, and receive congratulations. Audience, please hold your applause until all of the graduates have been hooded.
Dr. Emily Gibbons. Dr. Atman Adil. Dr. Matthew Agnew. Dr. Bilal Ahmed. Dr. Maham Ahmed. Dr. Abdullah Alam. Dr. Alexander Altman. Dr. Melinda Amornwisheit. Dr. Ahmad Asali. Dr. Nabila Azim. Dr. Zachary Baker. Dr. Darshna Balasubramaniam. Dr. Alex Balboa. Dr. Hannah Baylock. Dr. Natalia Berrigan. Dr. Abby Begezda. Dr. Matthew Bellardo. Dr. Kara Bird. Dr. Samantha Chase Bowman. Dr. Mary Bozick. Dr. Justin Brown. Dr. Nicholas Burkholder. Dr. Taylor Bussell. Dr. Andrew Campbell. Dr. Andrew Karras. Dr. Christine Cassidy. Dr. Ankur Chabe. Dr. Jacob Circillo. Dr. Mackenzie Clapp. Dr. Quincy Copeland. Dr. Stephanie Cordonier. Dr. Rana Ahed Das. Dr. Judy DeBoule. Dr. Gianna Dawood. Dr. Armel DeRiso. Dr. Danielle Dever. Dr. Alexander Deschena. Dr. Michelle Johan. Dr. Christina Dubchuk. Dr. Joseph Duff. Dr. Alexander Edwards. Dr. Joseph Eade. Dr. Caitlin Ng. Dr. David Farrow. Dr. Stephen Folkerth. Dr. Peter Fredman. Dr. Omar Jad. Dr. Karina Geishauser.
Dr. Casey Gallagher.
Dr. Akil Gangisetti. Dr. Julie Gartland. Dr. Gabrielle Gear. Dr. Allison Guerin. Dr. Nicholas Gaza. Dr. Kassar Hafiz. Dr. Patrick Haggerty. Dr. Arman Hassan. Dr. Charles Hawk. Dr. Saloni Hegde. Dr. Anai Hindupur. Dr. Benjamin Hinkle. Dr. Cassandra Hooksema. Dr. Amy Hua. Dr. Jennifer Wong. Dr. Angela Jacob. Dr. Brianna J. Dr. Esther Jung. Dr. Swaramsi Katragada. Dr. Jesse Kelso. Dr. Muhammad Khalid. Dr. Tricia Kambadkoni. Dr. Shafwan Khan. Dr. Anna Kazan. Dr. Ina Kim. Dr. Jason Kleppel. Dr. Jay Kumar. Dr. Megan Lark. Dr. Jacob Leonard. Dr. Brandon Lewis. Dr. Christine Liu. Dr. Daniel Lubarski. Dr. Sherry Marie Maigret. Dr. Cameron Marcus. Dr. Allison Martin. Dr. Esther Mburu. Dr. Mitchell McDaniel. Dr. Sierra Metzoyan. Dr. Ethan Miller. Dr. Nicholas Mitchell. Dr. Randy Moore, Jr. Dr. Shyla Moore. Dr. Jennifer Park. Dr. Jordan Perdue. Dr. Alex Petrak. Dr. Matthew Ponder. Dr. Christian Posodny. Dr. Mabod Poriahi. Dr. Rafid Rahman. Dr. Anirudh Reddy. Dr. Rahul Revan. Dr. Clayton Rice. Dr. Race Risser. Dr. Brandon Rosolowski.
Dr. Emily Rowland.
Dr. Kaylee Royster. Dr. Jeffrey Russell. Dr. Mario Sahlani. Dr. Natasha Samanich. Dr. Jack Sample. Dr. Arvind Senthil Kumar. Dr. Shivam Shah. Dr. Medea Shanidze. Dr. Devin Shannon. Dr. Aaron Sheehan. Dr. Michael Sheehan. Dr. Sabine Siddiqui. Dr. Hannah Simmons. Dr. Samantha Smith. Dr. Raquel Sahoski. Dr. Rachel Speakman. Dr. Jennifer Springer. Dr. Jagisha Srivastava. Dr. Shreya Suredi. Dr. Stavros Stephanopoulos. Dr. Corey Stein. Dr. Matthew Sullivan. Dr. Grace Sun. Dr. Emily Symes. Dr. Saban Tour. Dr. Christina Varghese. Dr. Brent Veerman. Dr. Leka Vemaru. Dr. Jason Wanamaker. Dr. Li Wang. Dr. Logan Weghorst. Dr. Stephen Werner Sliva. Dr. Reed Wilkins. Dr. Angela Williams. Dr. Kayla Winters. Dr. Maggie Hoi Ting Wong. Dr. Rachel Wyand. Dr. Akul Yajnik. Dr. David Yatsonsky. Dr. Luke Zona.
Now, please join me in congratulating the class of 2021. Congratulations. And in order to show their commitment to the profession of medicine, the graduating medical students will now recite a physician's oath. Each year, the graduating class votes for the oath they wish to recite and the classmate they wish to lead the oath. The Doctor of Medicine class of 2021 has selected Dr. Akul Yajnik to lead the recitation of the Oath of Hippocrates. Dr. Yajnik, will you please come to the podium?
Will the MD graduates please stand? Please join me in reciting the Oath of Hippocrates found on page 47 of the program. It's the very back cover on the inside. Give you guys a second. All right. Upon this day of graduation, as I seek admission to the medical profession, I do solemnly affirm, as did the ancient Greeks, by all that I hold most sacred, that, according to my ability and judgment, I will keep this oath and its stipulations, to hold my teachers in this art equal to my own parents, and extend to them the respect and gratitude which is their due. I will by precept, lecture, and every other mode of instruction impart a knowledge of the art to my sons and daughters and those of my teachers. And to disciples bound by covenant and oath according to the law of medicine. I will follow that system of treatment which, according to my ability and judgment, I consider for the benefit of my patients and abstain from whatever is deleterious and mischievous. I will exercise my art solely for the cure of my patients and the prevention of disease, and will give no drugs and perform no operations for a criminal purpose, nor far less suggest such thing. With honor and dignity, I will practice my profession, not permitting consideration of religion, nationality, race, or social standing to intervene between duty and my patient. Into whatsoever houses I enter, I will go for the benefit of the sick, and will hold myself aloof from every voluntary act of wrongdoing or corruption. Whatever I may see or hear in the lives of men which ought not be spoken abroad, I will not divulge, reckoning that such should be kept secret. While I continue to keep this oath unviolated, may it be granted to me to enjoy life and the practice of the art, respected by all men in all times. But should I trespass and violate this oath, may the reverse be my lot. Please be seated.
At this time, we have the commissioning of our military graduates performed by Dr. Thomas Sodeman, Professor of Medicine.
President Postal, Dean Cooper, Dr. Hepburn, Colonel, graduates, family, and guests. At this time, I'd like to call our military graduates to the floor. Come on up. Double time. While they're doing that, I'd like to thank you for allowing me to do one of my favorite jobs in the military, namely commissioning new doctors. As I'm standing between you and the end of graduation, I'll be brief. I'd like to congratulate all of the graduates before us and wish them well as they go forth to serve, especially our military graduates. When I signed on the dotted line a week after my graduation in 1995, I never imagined where both medicine and the military would lead me in the coming quarter century, and looking back, I wouldn't trade a minute of it. I hope all of your careers are rewarding and you one day wind up as we have on stage, and not going in each day to just jobs, but instead going to do the things that you love to do in the service of others. Once again, congratulations, and I look forward to your successes. With that done, attention to commissioning. Please raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. And congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to call upon Dr. Corina Geishauser to give the medical student commencement speech. Dr. Geishauser was selected by her medical student classmates to deliver this address. Dr. Geishauser.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Corina Geishauser, and I'm honored to have been chosen to speak on behalf of the class of 2021. I'm sure over the past year, you've all grown as tired as I have of hearing the term unprecedented. And while it's true that this past year has been challenging on so many levels, as I reflected upon the past 4 years of medical school in its entirety, I realized that truthfully, the pandemic was just the latest chapter in a long list of unprecedented for us, the class of 2021. Think back to those first few months of medical school, how excited and nervous we were to start, how the excitement quickly turned into sheer terror after our first biochemistry quiz, when we were all hit with the harsh reality of just how challenging these next few years would be. The alarming rate at which we all developed bags under our eyes while studying for step 1, the beginning of 3rd year when our caffeine addiction really started. And I'm sure that we all had the inevitable and uncomfortable moment when we followed our resident into the bathroom. Think back to the challenges of finding your footing in one of the most uncertain seasons of your life, the difficulty of navigating your personal life while still having to function at the highest level. Each year was full of new twists and turns, of being knocked down and rising again. It's almost fitting that our last year of medical school included the pandemic as a grand finale. Beyond the difficulties, I also ask that you remember the moments of pure joy over these past few years. The first time you were struggling with a concept and it just clicked. One of those late nights, studying with your friends in the treehouse, nearly giddy off of coffee or whatever energy drink was keeping you alive at the time. Remember the collegiality, your friends and family celebrating successes with you and putting the pieces back together after a misstep. Think back to the first time you realized what specialty you would choose, how good it felt to finally find out where you belong in the vast field of medicine. Think about that one patient whose name and face you will never forget, the one that snapped you out of your sleep deprivation and worries about the next exam and back to the humanity of medicine. We have chosen a profession that's ever evolving, and with that comes uncertainty. We will all face plenty of challenges throughout our lives as physicians, but we will also experience those moments of pure joy and the patience that make it all worth it. Ours is a noble career, and I know that with the experiences, both difficult and joyous, that we've faced over these past 4 years, we are prepared to meet whatever the future holds. I hope each and every one of you recognizes the power that it took to persevere this past year through the pandemic, continued social injustice, and just general instability of life. As we continue into residency, I hope that we're able to continue to embrace that uncertainty. Embrace the challenges, but most of all, continue to seek out and revel in the joy to be found throughout your career. I'm humbled to call you my colleagues, and I'm honored to call you my friends. I cannot wait to see how the University of Toledo College of Medicine class of 2021 changes the future of medicine. Thank you.
Well, now we have an opportunity to celebrate graduation with a very special group, the graduates of 2020. Today we have 8 members of last year's class that have returned to participate in today's ceremony. At the time of last year's graduation, we were in the midst of the first wave of COVID, and our ceremony was by necessity a virtual event. Immediately after, many of this graduating class went out to join residency programs as interns on the front lines of care during the crisis, or in research programs, some of which were addressing the scourge of COVID. Throughout this year, these recent graduates lived out our mission to improve the health of our communities and region through their scientific efforts and by taking care of all people, many of whom were stricken by COVID. They did this because it's the right thing to do. They battled through the first, the second, and the dreaded third wave of the pandemic. They did so in training programs here in Toledo and programs across our state and across our country. In a moment, we will ask these 8 representatives of last year's class to come forward to be hooded and to be congratulated in person. Before that, though, I'd like to have you turn your attention to the video monitors as we show you pictures of today's participants from the class of 2020 and other members of last year's graduating class dressed in their intern's finest on the front line of science and healthcare in our community and across our nation.
Dr. Amit Sopan Chuguli. Dr. Amy Custer. Dr. Danielle Bozick. Dr. Carrie Stausmeyer.
Please join me in congratulating these students from the class of 2020. So graduates, today is your day. Today we celebrate your accomplishments and the opportunities for a bright future. Congratulations and my sincerest wishes for continued success in life's journeys. Congratulations and thanks as well to the graduates' families and loved ones, to their teachers and mentors. This concludes today's ceremony. We ask that the graduates, the class hooders, faculty, and audience remain seated in your seat until the platform party has recessed out of the arena. As we recess, the platform party will stop to join the students on the floor for a group photo. And students, when we take the photo, if you could just step behind your chair and look towards the back, we'll get that picture. Thank you to all of you.